The Inner Compass with Kishore presents Bhagavad Gita for Corporate Wisdom, Chapter 12, The Leader Who Leads with Heart. Let us begin. Some leaders lead with authority. Some lead with intelligence. But the leaders who leave a lasting impact lead with heart. Chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita brings leadership back to its most human essence. It reminds us that beyond strategy, targets, and performance, leadership is about how we relate to our work, to our people, and to ourselves. This chapter is not about devotion as belief. It is about devotion as presence, as steadiness, as care without control. Here, Krishna describes the kind of leader people trust, not because of power, but because of emotional maturity, inner calm, and compassion. In this chapter, we explore what it truly means to lead, not just with the head, but with the heart. Ask yourself, how do people feel after interacting with you? Seen, safe, or stressed? Every leader eventually faces this question, often without realizing it. Is leadership primarily about thinking, planning, and strategy? Or is it about relationship, care, and connection? Arjuna asks this very question in chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Should one focus on the abstract, the vision, the ideal, the bigger picture? Or should one stay grounded in human connection and lived experience? In modern leadership, this shows up as a tension between performance and people, between efficiency and empathy, between leading with head or leading with heart. This chapter reminds us that while strategy gives direction, it is connection that gives leadership its strength. Reflect on this. Do you lead more from strategy or from connection? Krishna's answer is gentle, yet very clear. He says, both paths matter. Vision matters, understanding matters, but for most human beings, the path of connection is more natural and more sustaining. Leadership rooted only in abstraction can feel distant. Leadership rooted in connection feels human. Krishna reminds Arjuna that when leaders stay present, relatable, and emotionally available, their influence deepens naturally. This is not about lowering standards or losing direction. It is about grounding leadership in relationship. because people don't commit to ideas alone. They commit to leaders who feel real, steady, and accessible. The path of connection is the path where leadership lasts. Chapter 12 asks us to rethink the idea of devotion. Bhakti, as Krishna describes, is not blind belief. It is wholehearted commitment. In leadership terms, Bhakti means showing up fully, not driven by ego, not attached to any control, but anchored in sincerity and care. A devotional leader is present without needing to dominate. They take responsibility without needing to impress. They serve the work and the people without clinging to outcomes. This is leadership that says, I am here not to prove myself, but to contribute meaningfully. Such leadership builds trust quietly. It creates loyalty naturally, and it sustains influence far longer than authority ever can. Reflect on this. Where in your leadership could you show more wholeheartedly? Where in your leadership could you show up more wholeheartedly? Krishna now describes the kind of leader who is deeply respected, even loved. Not because they are perfect, not because they are powerful, but because they are emotionally mature. Such a leader is not hostile. They are compassionate without being weak, free from ego, yet firm in purpose, balanced in success and failure, steady in praise and criticism, patient, content, grounded. This is not passive leadership. This is leadership with inner strength. In today's world, we might call this emotional intelligence. But the Gita goes deeper. It points to inner steadiness. When a leader is regulated on the inside, they become a stabilizing force on the outside. People don't just follow such leaders, they trust them. And trust is what allows teams to do their best work. Which of these qualities comes naturally to you? Which one challenges you the most? Think about it. Chapter 12 places quiet but powerful emphasis on something leaders often underestimate: emotional regulation. Teams don't fear challenges. They don't fear change. They don't fear uncertainty. What they fear is emotional unpredictability when a leader reacts impulsively, when moods swing with pressure, when praise inflates and criticism destabilizes, the entire system becomes anxious. Krishna describes a leader who is not shaken by praise or blame, who remains steady in success and failure. This steadiness is not emotional suppression, it is emotional awareness. A regulated leader becomes an anchor. Their calm gives others permission to think clearly, act responsibly, and perform under pressure. In leadership, your emotional state doesn't stay private. It becomes emotional climate of the team. Ask yourself, how do you usually respond under emotional pressure? One of the most subtle and most powerful teachings of the chapter 12 is this: care deeply without clinging. Krishna describes a leader who is fully committed to the work and the people, yet not imprisoned by outcomes. This is not detachment as indifference, it is non-attachment as inner freedom. In leadership, clinging often shows up as anxiety. Anxiety over results, anxiety over recognition, anxiety over how things should unfold. But when leaders care deeply and release the need to control, something shifts. They listen better. They respond more wisely. They recover faster from setbacks. Attachment tightens the mind. Non-attachment creates space. A leader who practices this balance remains compassionate without burning out, remains responsible without becoming rigid, and becomes committed without losing peace. This is how leaders sustain both performance and humanity. Reflect on this. Where are you caring so much that it is costing you peace? People don't place their trust in titles. They place their trust in consistency of character. Krishna explains that leaders who are steady inside become safe to follow outside. Such leaders don't change with pressure. They don't use authority to intimidate. They don't disappear when things get difficult. They show up calmly, reliably, and with dignity. This is why people trust them, not because they are perfect, but because they are predictable in the best way, grounded, fair, and emotionally available. When people feel psychologically safe with a leader, they speak honestly, they take responsibility, they bring their full intelligence to work. Trust doesn't come from control. It comes from how consistently human a leader remains, especially when things are uncertain. This is why Krishna calls such leaders dear, because they are safe to walk with. Reflect on this. Do people feel safe bringing their whole selves to you? Chapter 12 gently reframes what leadership truly is. Leadership is not control. It's not authority. It's not even influence in the traditional sense. Leadership is relationship. A relationship with your work, how sincerely you show up each day. A relationship with your people, how safe, seen, and respected they feel around you. A relationship with your values, what guides you when pressure is high. And most importantly, a relationship with yourself, how steady, honest, and compassionate you remain within. When this inner relationships is healthy, leadership flows naturally. Decisions become clearer, conversations become more human, influence becomes quieter and deeper. Chapter 12 reminds us when leaders tend to relationships, not just results, trust strengthens, resistance softens, and leadership becomes something people willingly participate in. Chapter 12 brings leadership back to its simplest truth. Leadership is not just about what you know, it is about how you are. When leaders lead with heart, with presence instead of pressure, with a steadiness instead of reactivity, with compassion instead of control, something profound changes. Clarity deepens, conflict softens, and influence lasts. This chapter reminds us that most powerful leaders are not those who dominate, but those who remain human, even in moments of difficulty. To lead with heart is not to be weak. It is to be anchored, to be emotionally mature, to be safe to follow as you step back into your roles, your teams, and your decisions. Carry this reminder with you. Lead with presence, lead with steadiness, lead with compassion. This is leadership that endures. As you continue your leadership journey, you may find deeper reflections in my books, Happy Journey, My Friend, Corporate Athletes, and The Stone and the Pond. Each explores awareness, leadership, and inner steadiness in its own way. Thank you for spending time with me on the Inner Compass with Kishore. Until next time, thank you.